Okay, so we're going to talk today about area of irregular polygons. We've talked about the perimeter, the outside. We've talked about area of regular polygons, but what happens when they're shapes that we're not quite as familiar with and we're trying to find the area? Well, we need to remember that area is the space inside a shape, the amount of space that that shape takes up. Now let's refresh our memory of what the area of a rectangle is. If we write the formula, it's just area equals length times width. The area of a triangle formula is area equals 1/2 base times height. Those should be review. Now if I'm trying to find the area of this shape below, I'm going to first start by dividing the complex shape into simpler shapes. Then we're going to color them. So right here, if you draw a line straight down, I have now created two shapes. Here, sorry, my pen's messing up a little. My blue is where I have my rectangle. And with another color, you can choose whatever colors you'd like, I'm going to color in my triangle. So I've completed step number 1, but now let's go to step number 2. It says find the missing measurements. Let's think about the measurements I need to complete this task. My full length down here at the bottom is 7 inches long. Up at the top, I can see that this edge of the rectangle is 5 inches. The way that I can find this missing measurement is by taking 7 minus 5. That tells me that this base of the triangle is 2 inches. Now the other measurement I have to complete this is I need the height of my triangle. You'll notice that this edge right here is the same as this edge right here, which makes this measurement, draw an arrow, 5 inches. So now I have all the measurements needed. I don't need to find the slanted line right here. This is called the hypotenuse of a triangle, but it's not necessary when we're trying to find the area. Now I have all of the information that I need. For step number 3, I'm going to find the area of each of the simpler shapes. So let's start first by finding the area of the rectangle. I know that the formula is area equals length times width. We reviewed that above. Now I can fill in my measurements. My length is 5 and my width is 5. That makes it a perfect square. My area of the rectangle should get you to 25 inches squared. At any moment, if you feel like I'm going too fast and you need to pause the video, you can do that and then pick back up whenever you're ready to move on. Now next I'm going to talk about my area of a triangle. Start with your formula, 1/2 base times height. And now let's fill in our measurements. My 1/2 stays the same. My base I found was 2, and my height I found was 5. Now using PEMDAS, I'm going to start by multiplying 1/2 times 2. If you were to put 2 over 1, that would give me 2 over 2. I know that becomes the whole number 1. You can also think of it as half of 2 is 1. When I wrap this up, I'm going to find the area of the triangle is 5 inches squared. Now is when I'm going to introduce my new step. Look right here at number 3. They want us to add the two areas together. So let's do it. Let's take the 25 from our rectangle and add the 5 from our triangle. Your final answer should be 30 inches squared. Now I'd like for you to go ahead, pause the video, and try the next example on your own. Once you've attempted it, press play and check it with me. If you've gotten all the right answers, you're in great shape. If not, see if you can figure out what the error was that you made. Let's look down here. We're going to start with the same steps. Step number 1 says divide the shape or the complex shape into simpler shapes. You can divide that into 3 rectangles with 2 simple lines, and they want us to color those as well. So you may choose any 3 colors. It just helps to keep all of them separate. Now, what I like to do is I actually like to label each of these rectangles. So I'm going to call this rectangle number 1, rectangle number 2, and rectangle number 3. Area rectangle number 1, rectangle number 2, and rectangle number 3. When I'm looking back at my work, you'll be able to really easily see which ones did you make an error on. Let's start with rectangle number 1. Now, I need to find any missing measurements. There are no missing measurements needed here. However, there are some measurements that I need to try to find for some others. Now, looking at this, I have a length and I have a width. For rectangle number 3, I have a length and a width as well. However, this is not the width that I want. I want the full edge here. So 10 inches is the one. Be careful not to use any information that is unneeded. For rectangle number 2, going up and down is 4, but I do have a missing measurement on the width. I need to take my 10, which I know is my full edge down here, and I need to subtract. I'm going to subtract 7 because 7 took up this much space right here. 10 minus 7 tells me my missing measurement is 3. And now we're ready to work. We're going to start with rectangle number 1 with the formula, area equals length times width. When I fill this in, 10 is my length and 5 is my width. The area of rectangle number 1 is 50 inches squared. Let's go to rectangle number 2. Start with the same formula. Plug in my 4 and my 3. Area equals 12 inches squared. I'm almost done. I have one more rectangle. Number 3 tells me that I'm going to take my 10 times my 2. This is going to give 20 inches squared. Now step number 3, actually should be step number 4, tells me I need to add all 3 areas together. So take your 50, your 12, and your 20. Let's see what we get. I got a total of 82 inches squared. If this is not the answer that you got when you attempted on your own, try it one more time. Follow step by step. If you have any questions, remember, you can always message your teacher on Canvas.